You're busy all day, but your goals barely move. That grind you're proud of might be hiding a clarity gap. The truth is, effort isn't the badge, results are. Tim Ferriss's one rule fixes it. Run everything through an 80-20 filter so you cut 80% of effort and keep 80% of results. If stress is up, goals are stalled, and recovery is zero, this is your reset. We'll find your vital 20%, cut the rest, and design a week that protects energy. There's a one-question filter that kills busy work, coming up. Now let's see why our current approach fails and what to do instead. Most people treat every task like it counts the same. That's how burnout sneaks in while results stay average. We chase volume over value, thinking more hours must mean more progress. But the truth is, a few inputs create most gains, and a few sources create most stress. Until we see that, we default to motion and miss leverage. Here's the better lens, the 80-20 principle. Identify the 20% that drives 80% of outcomes, both positive and less than positive. Don't just apply it to tasks. Apply it to your time, your energy, and your attention. Think leverage, not hours. Your calendar isn't a scoreboard, it's an investment sheet. The goal is compounding returns, not busy days. Let's make it practical. First, the results roll call. List 10 wins from the last 90 days. Anything real that mattered. Now, circle the 2 or 3 drivers that made those wins possible. What do they have in common? That's your highest leverage. The click happens when you see that most wins came from a tiny set of actions, relationships, or habits. Next, the stress audit. Write down recurring stressors from the last month. Highlight the top 2 or 3 that drain you most. Maybe it's a recurring meeting with no clear outcome. Maybe it's a message thread that pulls you into reactive mode. The thing most people miss. 80-20 also applies to thoughts and relationships. A handful of beliefs and interactions create most of the drag. Remove or reshape those, and everything feels lighter. Here's the one-question filter Tim-style thinkers use to kill busy work. Would I do this if the payoff were delayed a year? If that answer is no, you've found a task that's not truly vital. This question tests patience and priority. It exposes ego-driven yeses and fear-based obligations. A quick micro-story. A viewer ran the stress audit and cut one weekly call that never had an agenda. Within a week, their energy and mood lifted. Nothing magical, just removing a low-return drain. You don't need 30 changes. You need 1 or 2 meaningful deletions. Now, mistakes to avoid. Don't confuse motion with progress. Don't chase more tools when what you need is fewer commitments. And don't ignore recovery. Energy is capital. If you remember nothing else, treat energy like capital and invest it where it compounds. Protect the inputs that produce outsized results and prune the rest. Once you see the vital few, the next move is to cut, systemize, and protect. That's where elimination, automation, and weak design turn insight into daily traction. Knowing 80-20 isn't enough. Without pruning, it becomes shelf help. The gap between knowing and changing is behavior. So we pull 3 levers: eliminate, automate, and liberate. Once you use them, the grind loses its grip. First, eliminate. Say no by default. Remove the bottom 20% that wastes time. This is the fastest win because subtraction is simpler than optimization. Start with a stop doing list. Write 3 tasks, 3 meetings, and 3 notifications to cut this week. Be concrete. If a task doesn't move a key outcome, pause it. If a meeting has no agenda or owner, decline it. If a notification trains you to react, disable it. Your inbox is the worst offender. Give it rules. Time box your checks. 2 or 3 windows per day. Use canned replies for common questions. Unsubscribe ruthlessly. The thing most people miss. Saying later is still a yes. Later grows into guilt and mental debt. If it isn't vital, it's a no. Will people be disappointed? Sometimes. But your clarity helps everyone. You teach others how to treat your time. Common mistakes here. Vague boundaries, saying, "Let me think about it," when you mean no, and trying to please everyone. Clear lines create respect. A short, kind decline beats a long, resentful yes. If that feels tough, remember the one question filter. Would you still do it if the payoff were a year away? Second lever, automate. Turn repeat decisions into systems so you make fewer choices and keep more focus. Decision fatigue kills deep work. Build decision menus for routine parts of your day. Preset breakfast, workout, outfit, and work blocks. Less friction, more flow. You're not removing freedom. You're reserving it for things that matter. Templates are your quiet force multiplier. Create a weekly planning template so you don't start from scratch. Draft reply templates for common emails. Use meeting agendas with outcomes and time limits. That simple move cuts ramble and pressure. Add triggers to stack habits. After coffee, write. After lunch, a 10-minute walk. When X happens, I do Y. Your brain loves patterns. The reason this works is it turns good behavior into default behavior. Just don't overengineer. Keep tools you'll actually use. A simple note app and calendar beat a complex system you abandon. Schedule a 5-minute weekly maintenance check to keep systems clean. Third lever, liberate. Design your week for peak energy and deep work. Start with an energy map. Identify your peaks, troughs, and recovery windows. Protect 2 deep work blocks on peak days, no interruptions. Add 2 admin blocks for shallow work. Put 2 buffer blocks for spillover. And include 2 off-grid sessions for real focus. No tabs, no pings, just one priority. That's the 282 week design. 2 deep, 2 admin, 2 buffer, 2 off-grid. It's constraints creating freedom. Pre-decide your rest. Schedule it like a critical task. Recovery isn't a reward later. It's fuel now. When you choose constraints, your choices improve. Micro story. After adding 2 protected deep blocks each week, outputs improved even with fewer hours. Not because of heroics, but because of clean focus. That's leverage. Checkpoint moment. Your brain loves patterns. Reduce friction and results snowball. Eliminate the bottom. Automate the repeat. Liberate the peaks. You've pruned and systemized. Now we'll run a 7-day experiment to lock it in. Quick wins build belief. A week is enough to feel momentum and cut stress. So let's run a simple 7-day 80-20 sprint to prove this works in your real life. Day is set up. Pick one outcome that matters this week. 1. List your top 3 levers for that outcome. Define done so it's obvious when you've hit it. Clarity removes wiggle room. Days 1 and 2 are eliminate days. Execute your stop doing list. Cancel or decline the 3 meetings that don't have agendas or outcomes. Turn off 3 notifications that yank your attention. Audit inputs and prune them by roughly 30%. This isn't about exact math. It's about freeing space so the vital work can breathe. If a request arrives, use the one question filter. Would I still say yes if the payoff were a year away? If not, it's a no. Days 3 and 4 are automate days. Install 1 weekly planning template. Create 2 reply templates for common emails or messages. Batch similar tasks into dedicated windows. Set 3 triggers to anchor key habits. After coffee, start your primary task. After lunch, take a 10-minute walk. After closing your laptop, write a 2-line progress note. Pre-decide breakfast and workout to cut morning friction. You're building rails that guide your day. Day 5 is Liberate Day. Schedule 2 deep work blocks next week during your natural peak. Protect them like appointments with your future self. Add 1 buffer block for spillover. And pre-decide rest, a real recovery block on your calendar. Treat it as non-negotiable. This is where the grind starts to fade, because you're respecting your energy. Day 6 is the stress sweep. Choose 1 recurring stressor and remove it for good. End a recurring call without an agenda. Set a boundary for a chat thread that derails you. Adjust a deadline to reflect reality. 1 decisive change can lift your mood for days. Less drag means more lift. Day 7 is review. Write 3 wins, 3 lessons, and 1 upgrade for next week. Set your next 80-20 plan in one sentence. My one outcome is X, driven by Y and Z. Keep it blunt and useful. If something slipped, ask why, not who. Then tweak your system, not your self-worth. Tools to keep. The results. Roll call, the stress audit, and the stop doing list. Use a weekly plan template and 2 reply templates. Avoid the mistakes. Doing everything at once. Moving your deep blocks, ignoring recovery, or letting scope creep in. Quick win checklist. Cancel 1 call, install 1 template, protect 1 deep block. Notice the lift. If you remember nothing else, calendar blocks are promises to your future self. When in doubt, ask, if the payoff were a year away, would I still say yes? That question kills busy work on site. You've now felt the shift. Keep it simple and keep protecting your vital few. Most of your progress will come from a few focused moves. Protect them, and the grind fades fast. Use the 7-day 80-20 sprint this week to prove it to yourself. Subscribe to Big Upside for more practical mindset tutorials, and drop a comment with the one task you're cutting today. Your future self is counting on the promise you make now.